y'all, my name is Annie and this is my channel, Eat, Drink, and Be Reading. Today I'm going to do the stay at home tag. This will be my first kind of tag other than the BookTube newbie one. And it was started originally by Princess of Paperbacks, and I'll try to link that down below. And I thought it would be really fun. Also, right now, I know a lot of states are opening up. In 2 days, my state, North Carolina, will start opening up a little bit. We're opening up in phases. And I still think, though, it's important for us to stay home as much as we can. And so I thought it was a perfect time to do the stay at home tag. Okay. Question 1. Laying in bed, a book that you have or could read in a day. And the book I thought about was Tell Me 3 Things by Julie Buxbaum. I will say most of the books on this list, in fact, all but one, I believe I either listened to on audio, they're on my Kindle, or I borrowed them from the library. So I won't have the actual physical copies with me, but I'll try to put a picture up so that you can still see the cover. So Tell Me 3 Things by Julie Buxbaum is a YA book, and it's about a girl named Jessie, and she moves from Chicago to LA and starts at a new prep school and hates it and wants to leave, go back to Chicago. And one day she gets an email from somebody calling themselves somebody/nobody, SN for short. And they're offering to help her kind of navigate this new school. Over time, they really build this close friendship, maybe more. And she starts to wonder who it is, and she has some guesses and some ideas of people she maybe wants it to be, people she doesn't, and she's not sure if she ever actually wants to find out. And so it is the story of their relationship, how it starts online and where it goes from there. The thing I love about Julie Buxbaum, I think she's my favorite like YA contemporary romance type author, because everything, all the stories she tells, go deeper. Like Jessie recently lost her mom, and so there's a lot of grieving that happens in this book as well. And so it is so much more than what meets the eye, and that's what I love about Julie Buxbaum. I recommend any of her books. Question number 2, snacking. What is a guilty pleasure book? This one is in some ways very similar to Tell Me 3 Things, and this is What Happy Looks Like by Jennifer E. Smith. I have read this book at least 3 times, maybe more. I know I read it at least once with all 3 of my newborns while I was nursing them. It is the story of this teenage movie star named Graham. He accidentally sends this kind of small town girl, Ellie, an email, and that kind of starts an email friendship between them. And he actually ends up getting his next movie to film in the small town where she lives in Maine. And so now what started as an online friendship is in person. Where does it grow? Does it grow to something more? Does it not work when they're in person? How does she feel about the fact that he just shows up in her town? Sweet and an easy read and fun. And there's just something really enjoyable and charming about watching 2 teenagers kind of figure out what it looks like to care about someone. And you really see that in this book. And I really enjoyed it and have read it a lot. All right, question 3, Netflix, a series you want to start. I'm hoping that a trilogy counts as a series, because I'm going to say the Arc of a Scythe series by Neal Shusterman. I think when Scythe first came out, I remember seeing it somewhere and reading it, the blurb, and thinking, I don't know that that's for me. Doesn't really sound that great, but it is all over BookTube and everyone is loving it. And so, you know what? That sounds like something, if it is as good as everyone says it is, that sounds like something I could dig my teeth into and we just go. Like, read it and read it and read it. And the whole thing is out now, so it's a perfect time for me to start it. And I'm not exactly sure what it's about. It's some sort of dystopian type book, I think. But it will probably be my next, like, book buy. I'm trying my best to read books I already own for a while. But whenever I do finally go buy another book, I think it's going to be Scythe. All right, question 4. Deep Clean, a book that's been on your TBR forever. And I would have to say Home Cooking, A Writer in the Kitchen by Laurie Colwin. If you saw my BookTube newbie video, you learned that I love food memoirs. You probably did not need to see that video to know that, just because my channel is Eat, Drink, and Be Reading. I love food. I love to read about food. Food memoirs are one of my favorite genres. I haven't bought it because every other food memoir that I've read, I've either gotten like the Kindle deal, like a $2 Kindle deal, or I've gotten it from the library and it was not available the few times that I tried. And for some reason, I never put a hold on it. I don't know. I think I also want to own that one because I think there's good recipes in it too. So it's been on my TBR for many years and it deserves a reading. The next question is Animal Crossing, a book you recently bought because of the hype. I bought Sweep, the story of a girl and her monster by Jonathan Auxier. Recently I bought the audio, but it is beloved, especially by people who like to read middle grade. And in the last year or so, it is really beloved by everyone who likes to read middle grade. I've heard so many different booktubers talk about it, and so I really wanted to give it a shot, and I adored it. It might be in my favorite, top 5 books of the year. It was so great. It's the story of this little girl who's a chimney sweep, and there's an accident one day, and she's saved by this coal monster. And he's this tiny little coal monster, and she realizes he came from this piece of coal that the man who had taken care of her when she was little left for her. And it's just their story together and how she tries to fight for the rights of these young children who are chimney sweeps. Yeah. Also, the audiobook is just phenomenal. It's so good. I think I liked the story way better. All right, question number 8. Productivity. A book you learned from or had a big impact on you. My 2-year-old keeps coming in and out of the store over here, and so sorry if you hear her or the slamming of a door. So my first instinct of a book that I learned from or had a big impact on me was Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson. It's the book I think every person who lives in America should read. Oh no, we don't plug things in. No, you want to sit with me? And so I'll actually talk about The Liturgy of the Ordinary by Tish Warren. And this is the story. It's not a story. So, Sarah wanted a book, the board book for little women. So we're back and we're talking about Liturgy of the Ordinary. And in this, a hat in your book, yeah. And in this book, Tish Warren goes, those are scissors, goes through her day and writes about how each of those moments in her day that seem simple and ordinary can actually, scissors, oh, you're showing them the scissors, can actually be holy. She talks about making her bed and about eating food and sitting in traffic and just a bunch of different parts of her day. And I thought it was really eye-opening and made me think, and I still think about that book probably every day in some way, shape, or form. Number 7 is FaceTime, a book you were gifted, and this is the only book I can physically show you, and that is Lilac Girls by Martha Hall Kelly. My husband gifted me this for Christmas 2 years ago, and I finally read it in April. Really enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's a World War... There's a snake. It's a World War II historical fiction. It goes through... Bunny! The... Flowers! Another flower. It goes... Yeah. It tells the story of 3 different women, one here in New York, one in Poland, who gets taken to a concentration camp, and one who is a doctor, a German doctor at one of the concentration camps, and follows their stories throughout the war. And I'm glad I finally read it, and it was a very sweet gift. My husband picked it out all on his own. I'm very proud of him, although historical fiction's usually a pretty easy choice for me. All right, number 8 is self-care. One thing you're doing to take care of yourself recently. I have 3 little girls, and they are 2 and 4 and 5.5, and they are wonderful. But it does mean that in quarantine, I am never, ever alone. Like, I know a lot of people are always alone. I'm never, ever alone. And so I have been kind of every other weekend taking taking some alone time. My husband takes care of the girls. I've even got a tea from like a local coffee shop and sat in my car with the windows down and read a book. It has been a long time. And then like maybe the next weekend I've done like a social distance. A social distancing time with a friend, like distance. A bee. Time with a friend, a walk, or like a drink on the porch where we're sitting like on opposite ends. Those have both been good for my soul. I really hope you can hear me over this one. I'm so sorry. You want to show me something? You did color on that book. Yeah, I wish you hadn't. She went to pick out another book. So, I'll get the bonus in real quick. Bonus is Name a Book coming out soon, and that is All Things Reconsidered by Knox McCoy. And it is, I think, a memoir of what does it look like to reconsider all the things you've always known, that you've kind of taken for granted. And I think for him, he's talking specifically about Christianity. Knox is the co-host of my favorite podcast. It's called The Podcast with Knox and Jamie. I love his voice. I read his first book, The Wandering Years, and I read it like in a physical copy, and I remember thinking like, God, this would be so good on audio because he does the audio. And I've already pre-ordered it, so I'll get it in about a month. Sit. Oh, this is one of our favorites. So I'm gonna go read this book to my kids, and thanks y'all for watching. If you can, subscribe. Press the subscribe button, like it, comment down below about... Mommy gave it to you, not Grammy. Comment, talk about what you've been doing in quarantine. How's your reading been during quarantine? If you have read any of these or want to read, Mommy bought that. Want to read? I really hope y'all could hear some of this with this little goober. And I will talk to you guys later.